Fight! That's me to all the Jade fans from the last video. Y'all still big mad? Hello, Champagne Dreamers! Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I don't know how you found me, probably in the MK1 hype, but hello, my name is Janessa. I am North Dakota's trash queen of glam, geek, and gore. And for today's video, I'm going to give you my review of MK1. So, am I an OG Mortal Kombat gamer since the very first arcade game in 1992? Yes. Am I making this video to shamelessly cash in on all of the hype surrounding the release of MK1? Also yes. I'm super excited to talk about MK1. I have already played through the story mode, I've unlocked several arcade endings, I've played a little bit of Invasion, and I have some thoughts. So, here there be spoilers. If you don't want to know anything about the story or anything, don't continue on in this video. Play the game and come back later, but if you don't mind that, then stick around because we're getting into it right now. I am Janessa. I'm super excited. Now, I did already make a video about MK1 before I had a chance to play anything except the beta. And I decided to go through and rank all of the female fighters, all of the playable female fighters that have been in the games. Kronika wasn't included because she's only been a boss character. If you want to see how that all shook out, then check it out right here. But I pre-ordered the game, so I was able to access it starting on September 14th. As of this recording, it comes out on Tuesday. We're recording this over the weekend. I don't know if I'll get it edited in time for release day. That's the goal, but maybe it'll be later. Maybe you'll see this later. And obviously there will be lots of spoilers. There's going to be lots of things that we talk about, especially about the story mode, but also we're going to talk about some of the arcade endings. And we're going to have some little mini countdowns. We're going to have a lot of fun. So I hope you're excited for this. I certainly am. Let's start by talking about the story. So there's been a lot of hype around the fact that this is really Liu Kang's timeline. In Mortal Kombat 11, he won the Hourglass from Kronika, and so he has been reshaping and remaking time, and this is his new era. This is his new timeline. He started off this new timeline and shaped destinies and tried to take some of the more troublesome elements of the game and hide them away in little pockets of the universe so that they couldn't be the troublemakers that they would grow up to become. And so now he has relinquished the power of the Hourglass because he recognized that it drove Kronika to madness, and he thought it would do the same to him. So he doesn't still have the power of the Hourglass, but he started this whole thing, and now he's preparing Earthrealm to fight in the Mortal Kombat tournament. Now, there isn't really this threat of Outworld invading. It's just this tournament that they have to keep peace and diplomatic relations between the realms. So he is gathering up his champions and getting ready to go. And in this new lore, they're going to bring a whole contingent of people with, because obviously we need to fill the story mode with lots of different fighters. But there's only going to be one champion. Because Outworld is hosting, they can put forward several champions. Earth gets to choose one. And in this new timeline, Raiden is a simple farmer, and so he and Liu Kang switch places. Liu Kang is now the fire god, he's now the protector of Earthrealm, and Raiden is going to be the champion. He gives him an amulet that gives him lightning powers, and he's going to go and fight in this tournament. So what they've done is they've really created new backstories for a lot of the characters. Now, a lot of the people who are evil are just still evil. So Natara was always kind of an evil character. She gets more development in this game, but she's still an evil character. Havoc is still an evil character. Shang Tsung and Quan Chi are still evil characters. But some of the evil characters are now fighting on the side of good, such as Reptile, Ashra, Melina, even Tanya. And so I was really interested to see how they handled them, because they put them at the start on the side of good. Would they stay there? Now, for the most part, yes, they do stay on that very heroic mode. And so as you work through the story, and for those of you who don't know, I love the story mode of Mortal Kombat, but you're really just watching a Mortal Kombat movie with random fight scenes where you just are playing whatever character is the main character of that chapter. you do a 2-round fight, and then it goes back to just showing you more cutscenes. And the cutscenes add up to like 4 hours. So it's basically a 4-hour Mortal Kombat movie that just has some playing of rounds in between. What I didn't like about this story round is that in addition to the random fights, it also incorporated Test Your Might, which is one of the game modes from the game's history. I get it, it's nostalgia, but when I first started the story mode, it asked me if I wanted those turned off or if I wanted them on. And I was like, oh, how bad could it be? They'll probably just throw a couple in. And there's something about the way that they do it, because I'm a button masher, but even I couldn't button mash the right way. I think there's some pattern, because the little thing on the screen would light up, and I got through the first one, and then I just kept dying. So, like, there's a place where you're in Shang Tsung's, like, basement laboratory, and he releases a gas, and you have to do the Test Your Might 3 times in a row to break through the door, or you die, and I just died. And I died so many times that I finally just had to go shut off the Test Your Might, and I was so mad. And that sort of gameplay we're going to come back to later, because that's one of my critiques of the game.
I lose my breath whenever I see you. You stole my heart, what is it that you do? My life was great till you added colors.
But, so whatever it is, I wasn't button mashing the right way. I couldn't do the Test Your Strength. One time I got through 2 layers, but I could not get that 3rd layer. So I went and shut it off. And basically it still plays the Test Your Might segment. It just has the meter already above the winning line, and you just hit the trigger. I felt like a child. It allowed you to bypass it, basically. So as you're going through, you're collecting all of these characters who are going to be helpful to you. Everybody's got new backstories, and so Reptile is kind of an outcast from his people. He ends up joining. He's helping Shang Tsung at the beginning, but he finds out that Shang Tsung killed his family, so he comes with you. Rain is still evil, and they kind of face off at one point. Ashra is trying to escape the Netherrealm and trying to purge herself of evil. She joins you and gets her own chapter, which is very cool. Melina finally gets a chapter in story mode because she is the Empress and she's fighting off the Tarkat disease. That's one of the things that I think is really, really well done, is the way that they handled the Tarkat disease. So basically, Baraka is this character that's been in since Mortal Kombat 2. He has like bony ridges and this big Halloween mouth of like sharp, jagged teeth and blades that come out of his arms. And he was just a Tarkatan. That was like a species that lived in Outworld. And he was part of Shang Tsung's group of baddies in MK2. Well, now what they've done is that people who are Tarkatan are just regular Outworlders who have contracted this disease called Tarkat. And it morphs them and it affects their jaws. And it basically turns you into a bloodthirsty monster, but you have all this extra strength and you can create these bone claws in your arms and all this kind of stuff. And so Melina, it's revealed pretty early on, is infected with Tarkat. Now there is one little part of the story that I don't really get, because Shang Tsung is trying to he's trying to create a war between Earthrealm and Outworld. And so he has sort of been manipulated, he thinks, by Kronika. So in the footage that we saw, if you saw the footage from the first 15 minutes of the game, it looks like he's visited by Kronika. It's revealed later on in the story that when she was destroyed, her essence went away and it couldn't be her. It couldn't possibly be her because she's been destroyed. And it turns out it's a Shang Tsung from another timeline that we'll get to. But so Kronika, manipulates Shang Tsung and gets him in the orbit of Queen Sindel. And so he's her trusted advisor. And he may or may not have actually inflicted her with Tarkat, but he is able to treat her. Now, here's the problem. Shang Tsung has apparently developed a serum to prevent Melina's Tarkat affliction from being obvious, from showing up, and from manifesting itself. And even, of course, in all of her fight scenes, it manifests and you get the big, chomper jaws or whatever. And then they inject her and it goes back to normal. If they have this serum, why aren't they producing it for all the Tarkatans? That's a part that they never address, they never talk about. So they do mention that the Tarkatans, once you're infected, you're just kind of taken off to this colony, and you're just kind of left there to die. But we're supposed to believe these are the good guys, and they have a serum that reverses it. You'd think they would put something in about, oh, that's far too advanced. This serum won't work on them. It works on Melina because she's just now manifesting these symptoms or whatever. They don't do that. So basically, Shang Tsung has developed this serum, and they're just like, oh, we better keep it only for Melina and never let anybody know she has Tarkat, rather than healing this disease. That's billionaires for you. Maybe they'd like a submarine vacation. Too soon? Now, I was so sure that Onaga was going to feature into this. And at the end, he doesn't. He's not even really mentioned. They mention the Dragon Army, but they don't mention who put together the Dragon Army. I think there was one, like, offhand reference, maybe, to the Dragon King or something. But he's not part of it at all. Which, I guess, it kind of makes sense, but also kind of doesn't. Because the final enemies in the game are probably the biggest disappointment. Because it's just Shang Tsung and Quan Chi again. So because they've got this cameo system where you've got a main fighter and a cameo, you fight Shang Tsung and Quan Chi is his cameo. That's been done before. And actually that's, I think, why they did it. Because if you played Mortal Kombat 9, that game was a reinvention of Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. So they took those three storylines and wove them together and updated it to this new platform, this next-gen experience, blah, blah, blah. Well, MK1 really does that for the 3D era games. So it does it for Deception, Deadly Alliance, and Armageddon. And it really does Deadly Alliance and Armageddon, but Deception in the middle is where the Dragon King comes in. And he was actually the end of that. And that's why when I saw that this game was actually setting up these three games as being kind of the basis, kind of like MK9 or just Mortal Kombat, from 2009. When I saw that it was setting that up for the 3D era games, I was like, that's totally going to be the mid-credit sequence. So I was like, even if we don't get Onaga through the whole game, that's where it's going to be. So you fight Quan Chi and Shang Tsung again. I mean, so boring, so reductive. But okay, I was like, this is going to lead to Onaga. We're setting up a sequel. This game has a life. Like, this game, it's going to continue past this. There's going to be a sequel. So I was like, at least then we'll get set up for this. No, we don't. So you go through all of this, and then the end of the game is Armageddon, but with a twist. So for the original Xbox, there was Armageddon. And that was the last one they did on original Xbox before they moved to the Xbox 360. And that's when they had Mortal Kombat versus DC. But for Armageddon, they're like, this is our send-off to this generation of console. And they put every Mortal Kombat character in that game. Everybody. And basically, you're going to go fight Blaze, this sort of godlike fire being. And every character that's been in a Mortal Kombat game in any capacity is a playable character. And you fight to win to get Blaze's energy and to stop Armageddon. And basically, there's this big pyramid. The opening sequence where everybody's fighting to get up the pyramid and everybody's getting killed off or whatever. That's iconic. And that is kind of part of the end of this game. But fucking nerdy, toxic fanboys gotta ruin everything with their goddamn multiverses. I am so tired of multiverses. I'm so tired of a multiverse of madness. I'm tired of everything having to be canon. Is it canon? Is it canon? How do we explain that this is canon? All this stuff. These just dumb chin-beard idiots jacking off in their basements, talking on forums about how everything's canon. It's gotta be canon. So basically what happened is at the end of MK11, they decide that Liu Kang and Shang Tsung, when they fought, it fractured time. And so in one version, Liu Kang wins, and the Shang Tsung and Quan Chi that you fight are the ones that spun off from the timeline where Shang Tsung won. So they fight each other. So then Liu Kang is like, oh, well, maybe there's other champions. Maybe there's other possibilities. And he goes and collects other people. And Shang Tsung collects all these dark versions of all these people who died or whatever, and they're revenants and all this kind of stuff. And so as you're going up the tower in Armageddon, all you do is just encounter all of these, like, multiverse possibilities. So you have to fight Johnny Cage as Ninja Mime is an actual fight. So as you're going up the tower, instead of these 2-round fights, basically it'll go into like the fight screen and you do a 1-round quick combat with somebody who attacks you. Now I've only played through that part of the story once, so I don't know if it changes. I think the further you get up, it seems like maybe they combine whichever character you picked, because you get to, for that one, you get to pick which character you want to get to the top, and I picked Melina. And it seemed like they were giving me a few people who were Melina crossed with other people like Ermac or Sub-Zero. So I need to play it again to see if it changes, how many of the fights change and all that kind of stuff. So I haven't done that yet. But basically, you start to see all of these mixed up. So you get to see a Sonya who looks like the cameo Sonya, but she's all in black. And she's got the Kano red robotic eye. And you start to see all of these different versions. I know that everybody thinks that the multiverse is the answer to all of their continuity problems. It's just tired. It's tired. It's tired because it's worn out. It's been done and it's old. But so eventually you win and then like all is right with the world, except there's a mid-credit scene. And what it is a bunch of these multiverse mashup bullshit characters. So they have the main one who seems to be their leader is Havoc combined with Kotal Khan, who's not even a character in the game. And they're like, oh, how did it happen so fast? How did they work through this so fast? And he's like, next time they won't. And if that's the sequel, if the sequel is this like multiverse bullshit where you can mix and match and finger bang characters onto each other, Jesus, take the wheel. I don't have time for that shit. I do not have time. I was so excited for Onaga to make a comeback. We were going to bring in the special forces and get Sonya and Jax and all those people back. They set up this whole multiverse thing. I'm so annoyed with it. But so that's the story. It was good in its own way, and I really liked the things that they did. I really liked that the characters that got a redemption arc got to stay redeemed. So Li Mei didn't double cross anyone, not even in her ladder ending. We're going to talk about that. Tanya didn't double cross anyone. Melina didn't double cross anyone. So all of these people that got redeemed and got to be heroic got to stay heroic. So I really like that. So some of the critiques that I have is that they kept the queerness between Melina and Tanya, but barely. It's in this real sort of like subtle, sly looks, winking, 1980s Dynasty Stephen Carrington sort of way, where there's very little interaction that you see between Melina and Tanya. But Katana makes a reference of, like, nobody can know. It would be a scandal. Oh, you know their vows. Like, all this kind of stuff. So what could have been really great queer representation kind of got closeted a little bit. Which is kind of lame, because NetherRealm, it's not like they've been shy about it. They've had very open... I mean, Melina's ladder ending in Mortal Kombat 11, she gets the hourglass, she brings back Tanya, and they raise this blood-eating monster baby together. Like... It's very queer, so I don't know why they had to dumb down her queerness. I didn't really love that. I didn't love that you fight Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. It's tired, it's played out. It could have been so much better. It could have been something different. I get that it replicates that boss battle in Deadly Alliance, but such a missed opportunity to bring in some new interesting lore, to do something different with it. I'm glad it wasn't Kronika. There was a little sneaking suspicion. Some people were upset when they saw Kronika in the opening, and I was like, there's no way. The way the Chinbeards reacted to Kronika, people hate Kronika. I didn't mind her. I think that some of her, like, the gameplay against her was kind of hard because of how she operated, but people were just big mad because there was a female big bad, and they just need to get over it. But I'm glad it wasn't Kronika. I think that would have been a misstep, but something else besides just another fucking battle against Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. We're done with it. We're done. We've moved on. So let's talk a little bit about the ladder ending. So my top 5, my first 5 people that I unlocked, obviously I've talked about how I love female characters. My first one, obviously Melina. The second ladder ending that I opened was Nitara. The third was Ashra. Fourth was Tanya. And fifth was Katana. I had to go with my girl Katana. Of course, then I immediately did Li Mei after that, because I wanted to know if Li Mei, if they were going to tease the Dragon King with her, and of course they didn't, god damn it. And so I went back and checked with her to make sure that she wasn't a double crosser, and I wanted to make sure she had a good ending. And then I did Sindel, and then I did some of the men. So the first male character I unlocked was Reptile. I wanted to find out more about Reptile. And then I did Rain and Havoc. Those are all of the ladder endings that I've unlocked so far. Those 10, I think. Seven, all 7 of the female characters, and then Reptile, Rain, and Havoc. So what I liked is that none of the endings in the ladders gave us anything too surprising. There was no double crosses. Tanya didn't backstab and become the Empress. Li Mei didn't like reawaken the Dragon King and betray everybody and get them killed. Pretty happy. Everybody got their happy ending. Even the bad people kind of got happy endings. So like Havoc and Rain teamed up, and their ending was kind of the same, except on Rain's you also got his reaction to doing it. He felt remorse afterwards, but basically Rain goes and destroys the capital city of Sado for Havoc, and so they kind of team up, but you don't get any real surprises, any real lore-changing information. I think this game took a long time to develop. It's gonna live for a long time. They've already said that they plan for it to run longer than MK11, which was like 3-4 years. And so, obviously, it's going to have a life before it gets a sequel, so they didn't need to do a lot of sequel setup, and maybe they haven't even thought that far ahead. But there was no real big surprises in ladder endings. But Tanya's really did surprise me. So Tanya's ending really surprised me because Tanya's ending is really weirdly pro-cop in some way. So basically in this story, the Umgadi are these warrior priestesses who are tasked with protecting the Empress, the royal family, and Li Mei used to be the head of the Umgadi. She was like the head guardian of the Umgadi. And then it was under her watch that King Jared was killed. So in Tanya's ending, they say that as she looks into it, it turns out that it wasn't Li Mei's fault that King Jared was killed. It was actually the Mother Superiors, or whatever they called them, of the Umgadi. It was their mistakes and their problems that led to King Jared being killed. And so rather than just abolishing the whole thing, because she said then there's cries among the Outworlders to abolish the Umgadi. Does that sound a little bit like abolishing the police after George Floyd and a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests? And so then Tanya says, no, this is my sacred duty to protect the public. And instead, she gets rid of the Mother Superiors, and she's going to reform the Umgadi from the inside. The language is so creepy and just sounds really, really pro-cop. The way that they did it, it just felt kind of icky to me. So I like that Tanya gets to stay heroic, but I don't love that they really created this weird propaganda ending for her. I am Team ACAB all day long, so that was not going to pull me in. I like Tanya, but that ending was trash. Another critique is, God bless her, I know Megan Fox, she did that trailer. She was pretty weak as Natara. I don't think they got enough of a voice performance out of her. She sounded like an LA influencer, like sitting on a couch, recording her lines. Like,
Quan Chi has promised me that I'm going to be able to feed my people, so I'm going to help him.
Like, there was something about it. I know everybody ragged on Ronda Rousey as Sonya in the last game. I think this was worse. I didn't mind Sonya in MK11, but this Megan Fox was not great. It was not great. I'm sorry. So I didn't love that. I didn't love the multiverse shit. Please stop. The multiverse stuff has to come to an end at some point. That can't just be everybody's cop-out. I know that everybody is just looking and drooling and jacking off over how much money Disney has brought in through Marvel, through this cinematic universe and the multiverse and all that kind of stuff. It's not an answer to all your problems. It's not a magic bullet. Look at the fucking Flash. That movie was terrible. And it's not terrible because of all the problems with Ezra Miller. It's not terrible because of the weird timing and how they promoted it because they were trying to de-emphasize him. It's terrible because it's a terrible movie. Because the multiverse isn't a magic answer. And they didn't have a reason for the multiverse. And in fact, I liked Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I liked it because even though it's called Doctor Strange, that's a Scarlet Witch movie. So I enjoyed that. But It was not one of the best Marvel movies. I think it's not one of the best received. Certainly it's not at the level of, like, The Eternals. I mean, everybody panned that one. I didn't mind that one either, but I go into those and it's cotton candy, it's popcorn, it's a fluffy snack. I'm not really that invested. And that's the problem with the multiverse and all of this cinematic universe and canon. Is it canon? Is it canon? All this kind of shit. Is at some point you're going to hit a critical mass where people are not going to go back and watch 23 years worth of movies and 17 different 6-episode series and 5 documentaries and read 1,600 pages of comic books to be able to understand the new movie that's coming out. Like, it's not going to work forever. Like, eventually this universe is going to hit its limits and it's going to stifle creativity. I like the fact that creepy Batman with Zoe Kravitz, that exists. And that exists because they were like, oh, all that cinematic universe shit that you're doing, I don't give a shit about that. I want to tell this Batman story. I want to tell this story. I want to have these characters. I want to do it this way. When you have all of this stuff that lasts for a certain amount of time, you have to either just let it go or allow for new interpretations. Because all these people that, like, want to explain why Iron Man looks different, why there's a different actor. Because this is the real world. Robert Downey Jr. is a biological human being. And he gets older. And he's going to continue to get older. And I know that you neckbeards in Iowa would love it, but he can't be 80 years old putting on the Iron Man costume. I mean, then he's going to have an iron walker and, like, an iron lung that he's dragging along with him. Jesus Christ. Let the man die with dignity. And now with AI, where they're trying to scan everybody, that's why this strike matters. Because now they just want to scan all these people. And we will have fucking Robert Downey Jr. forever. Because comic books can use the same characters and keep them roughly the same ages for 80 years. Because they're fucking pictures. They're drawn. They're not real. Let these people live. Allow for new interpretations, new portrayals. You don't have to hate something because something new comes along. Just enjoy it. So all of this multiverse shit that they're doing, I hope that gets dropped for the sequel. I hope we hit some kind of critical mass and they go back to some other plan because I can't do it. I'm tired. It's tired. Because it's worn out. So that's the video. That's my review of MK1. I try not to give all the spoilers. I gave a lot of the spoilers. I gave a lot of the stuff away. But definitely let me know down in the comments below if you're playing. Who's your main? Who are you excited to play? Obviously, I started with Melina. I've played a lot of the other characters. I've been unlocking the cameos. That's a little bit annoying. Not all of the cameos are unlocked from the jump. Motaro is not unlocked from the jump. I was very excited about that, so I'm a little bitter. But I've been playing, I've been having a good time. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. And while you're down there, if you appreciated this video, give me that thumbs up just to show me a little bit of love on this video. And if you're a Jade fan and you are big mad, give me that thumbs down. You know what? I will take it. It's all engagement. The algorithm isn't a piggy bitch. And neither am I. While you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stick around. I would love to have you. You can find out all about my fun goings-on with Glam, Geek, and Gore. And hit the bell icon so you'll be notified of all future uploads. I try really hard to upload at least one video a week. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, you might even get a bonus video. Ooh, fatality-tastic. If you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, all of my social media will be linked down in the description box below, including a link to my website, theworldofchampagne@janessajay.com. Thank you so much for watching. I love and appreciate all of my little combatants out there. I am so excited every time you stop by and spend a little time with me, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. So, until I see you again, bye. Am I also shamelessly making... Am I also... Okay. Am I making this video to shameless... Oh, and I forgot to have rings on. That's fine.
Oh, my word. What kind of queen are you?
I know. There's no ring continuity. Which is what people come for.
Yeah.
That's their primary concern, is their jewelry continuity when I watch these videos. So, yes! Hello, yes! Welcome!
Yes!
And basically fucks you up. What is that? And that's when they had marital combat. So some of the critiques that I have are that... What are they? And the Shang Shang